Hey everyone, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. Today's video I'm going to cover the ultimate 5G home internet guide. So this is everything you need to know about it from AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, different gateways, tips and tricks about getting your best speed. This is going to be at the high level. I'll have other videos that actually go into the nuances, the technical details, and I'll have links to those down below. But to get started, let's talk about 5G cellular capability and how that's changed over time. And then I'll go into the difference between the different carriers, which ones are the best, which ones are not the best, as well as a touch on what is 5G home internet good for, how does it compare to like cable, fiber, DSL, satellite, some of those other services, Starlink, and then we'll go into what is it best used for, things like gaming, voice over IP calling, video conferencing, streaming videos. What are the pros and cons of it as we go through them, and then if you are trying to get better performance, what are the best ways to do that. There's things like third-party gateways, there's things like external antennas that you can add to it, and so I'll go through kind of a high level of all those. And this is from over 5 years of my own testing at my house for my internet, right? So this is not me paid by any of these ISPs to review theirs. I actually pay for all of their services every month, several $100s, so I have multiple of their gateways or SIM cards that I use. And then I test not only their products, but other people's products, like the antennas and different routers, gateways, that kind of stuff, to really test out the performance here at my house. So to start with, let's talk about how 5G now is, home internet is different than 5G on your cell phone. So lots of people have cell phones. Most people nowadays in the US probably have a 5G cell phone. And 5G stands for fifth generation of cellular network. And so people are very much used to being connected with their cell phone on it. And maybe some people use the hotspot feature of their cell phone, or they'll use a SIM card in a little mobile hotspot. And the big difference here is the past several years, the main carriers have been focusing on a home internet service. So it's still using the same SIM card, still using the same cellular connection, but they've done a few things to tailor it so that it's home internet use. And so all of them, at least by the terms of service, say it's a fixed gateway at a fixed address. So it's not designed to be mobile, meaning you're not supposed to take the gateway and travel across the country in your RV or your truck and go camping with it. But in general, they do work still when you do that, because it's just a very fancy cell phone, basically. So it does work, but the terms are not allowed to. But what they do is they do throttle or deprioritize those connections on here on the home internet services, because they want to give priority to the cell phone. So that's one thing to know. What they do is they're very selective on who they allow to actually sign up for the service. So the first round, as far as which carrier should you get, is kind of two things. One is what signal do you get at your house or where you're going to use it, and two, which carrier actually lets you sign up for it. So if you go in to AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile, you can go check their coverage map and see what type of signal you get, and you do have to pay attention to each one because there's different levels of 5G. And so if it's T-Mobile, it's their 5G extended or their 5G ultra capacity. You want their ultra capacity for the fastest connection, but 5G extended is still reasonable as well. And then Verizon has 5G ultra wideband, and which is their C-band network. It also includes millimeter wave, but millimeter wave is very rare, and that is significantly better than their non-ultra wideband 5G. Now, on the AT&T side, they also have these different flavors. Their 5GE is really not even 5G; it's really 4G LTE. And then they have their 5G Plus or 5G advanced stuff, and so that is better. So checking your coverage is number one. The second one, or really they're kind of tied for first place, is checking your address to see if you can even sign up for it, because a lot of them won't let you sign up for it, even if you get good signal. So know that that's the first filter there of which ones to go for. If you're lucky enough to have more than one option, then I would typically tell you to get them and test them out. Most of them have at least a 14-day period where you can return and not pay anything. And even if they don't, none of them have a contract typically where you're locked into it. Just pay attention if there might be some sign-up bonuses or whatnot that you won't be eligible for. You might have to give back if you cancel, in the first few weeks or months. Now, amongst all of them, from a pricing standpoint, there's a lot of overlap, and they are constantly changing it. So over the years, they kind of change each one. But roughly speaking, they're about $50 a month. If you have a phone plan with them, you typically can save 10, 15, 20, or even more dollars a month by having a combined package. So that's a really great way to save some money if you already have one of their unlimited phone plans. And then most of them also give you discounts for paperless and auto pay, that kind of stuff, for paying by debit card or check versus a credit card. So to me, the price really isn't probably a driving factor amongst these. Are trying to be very competitive with each other and get customers from the other carriers. So pricing to me seems fairly even. You're going to be within $10 probably, more or less, for you, but you do get different things with that cost. So for example, T-Mobile is probably the fastest as far as they have no throttle on the speed. So I've gotten over a gigabit per second download with T-Mobile service, but they do have deprioritization, which means if you are in a congested area and there's lots of cell phone users on it, you will notice your speed slow down. Most commonly, it's at like the evening time frame. That's when a lot of people are either commuting or streaming stuff, playing on their phone, on their couch, that kind of stuff. So your internet connection is going to be the bottom priority on the tower relative to the phone plans that are out there. Verizon side, Verizon actually does throttle you. So on their plans, you sign up for like the 5G home. I think their throttle is about 100 megabits per second for download, and I think it was 10 or 20 megabits per second for upload. There's a 5G Home Plus plan that bumps you up to like 300 megabits per second for download. And then again, I think 20 megabits or something for upload. So that one is good and bad. The good thing about that is that you can expect that consistent performance. It's not going to be deprioritized, and you're not going to see a drastic change in your speed, but you're also not going to see as fast of speed out there. And I would really love it if they gave us more upload speed, because I know their network can handle it. AT&T's is, again, it's lower priority. I don't believe that they have a throttle. That's going to be a hard limit. It's going to be based off the network capacity. But from what I've seen, it's been roughly, for me, it's going to vary greatly based off your exact location. Mine have AT&T performance has been about the Verizon performance. I have not got crazy speeds out of AT&T. But again, it's going to really depend on what signals you get at your house. All right, so there are a couple big downsides to 5G home internet, and amongst the carriers, the most noticeable for me at least is actually on T-Mobile for things like the CGNAT. So that's carrier grade network address translation, and that's basically how they assign you an IP address for your home. Most of you probably don't care about that, other than what kind of effects that will have for you for your gaming, or for even things like Hulu and streaming TV. By not having a public IP address at your gateway, it can really mess up a lot of different services that you might use at your home. It's going to make it much harder for you to be a host, like to have a server, let's say, Synology NAS server that you want to access from outside. This makes it a lot harder to do that. If you have gaming and you want to be a host server for a game, it's going to make it much harder to do that. Even just gaming in general, you might see that you're on strict NAT and not even moderate NAT because of that CG NAT. And that's not something that you can change, because that's on the T-Mobile network side. So it's not on your network. Putting a different gateway or having your own Wi-Fi router does not fix any of the CG NAT stuff. But there are some really advanced techniques from tailscale or tunneling through or reverse proxy. There are some ways around it, but it's certainly not straightforward. On the Verizon side and AT&T side, they tend to have the capability to do, if not a full IP pass-through, where it's not quite a full modem, but they might give you DMZ capability, and they might give you some things where you can do port forwarding natively on their gateway. So that is a big benefit of those two. And so the other thing with cellular-based home internet is that your ping or your latency can sometimes be worse than other hardline ones such as cable or fiber type performances. So I've seen a wide range of ping performance out of these, and it really again depends on your signal. It depends on if you're on a good 5G advanced type connection, if you are on a 5G standalone, all these different things. And so the truth is you're not really going to know until you get it, but do not be surprised if your ping is slower than something like cable or especially fiber because of cellular network technology. And now, as far as customer support for all these, I would say that they're all struggling with it. They have so many users, especially T-Mobile and Verizon, where they've really expanded this to millions of users in the U.S. That I typically get a person on the phone or on chat that's very friendly, but when it comes to technical details, they're lacking. So I actually get most of my support either through my own research and development or testing it out or online. And of those, T-Mobile probably has the biggest community of people between Facebook forums, Reddit, other places, YouTube videos for that matter, about things to do with it. So of those, T-Mobile probably has the biggest following. AT&T is by far the least popular. It's the hardest for me to find the information on. But I do sometimes go to the corporate stores, and I do find some really helpful corporate T-Mobile people that are in my neighborhood that can really help out when I go talk to them. So I would say they're all a little bit level playing field there as far as their built-in customer service, and then T-Mobile kind of has the edge online, and then Verizon. Then last place would be AT&T for the user-based support that you could get out of it. Okay, but let's say you did sign up and you want to get the best performance. The easiest, cheapest way to find the best performance is just really test different locations in your house. You have to place these on different rooms, different shelves, a desk, put it on a windowsill, put it on a table, and then ideally you'll look and find, sometimes the app when you set up will tell you where your nearest tower is or the direction that it is, and you can place the unit on that side of the house to try to get the best cellular connection. I certainly would tell you to favor the cellular connection more than Wi-Fi, meaning you want to place the gateway wherever it gets the best cell signal. And then if that means that you don't get as good Wi-Fi in your bedroom or something because it's on the other side of the house, you can fix the Wi-Fi network by adding an extender or a mesh network or something like that later. But you can't easily fix the cellular connection without doing some other modifications, which I'll talk about next. So if you've moved it around to different locations of your house, different floors, that's the easiest, cheapest way. The next one is to add an external antenna to it. So this here is a waveform quad mini. This is their smallest antenna. This one's indoor or outdoor. It has this tabletop mount, but it also has suction mount. Or you could also put it on a pipe or a pole, like a TV antenna tower or a satellite dish tower. This one has 4 cable connections to it, and I've seen these antennas really help with your performance, even with the stock gateway. And for most of their gateways, they don't have direct ports that you can plug into. T-Mobile does have 2 of their gateways, the white ones, that already have the ports. You literally just screw it in and you tell it to connect to external antenna and it works. But I have videos of how you take these things apart, and Waveform is one of the best antenna brands out there. They have a lot of guides, and so I've read their guides and follow their guides and take these things apart, and I'll video them, and I have videos about them. But then you add your SMA connectors, and now you can screw your antenna into this. I think this Verizon one has them out here too as well. And so that is another way. It does cost money, obviously, to buy an antenna, and the best place to put it is outside. You can put it in the attic. I've done a lot of testing with mine in attics, and it can still help a lot in that location, but that takes some work. The other great way to get more performance out of your 5G home internet is to get a third-party gateway like this black one on top here. This is a Chester Cheetah main event, so this is a really fast modem that's inside of this. So this one has faster modems than these gateways do, which means it can connect to more signals and aggregate them all together. It also has 2.5 gig Ethernet ports on the back side of it. It's got 2 SIM card slots, so you can have more than one service actually plugged in and configured for it. And then of course it has built-in Wi-Fi as well. So that's something where, especially if you have a SIM card in your gateway, you can literally take it out of the gateway, put it in here, configure some settings, and then that thing is blazing away and connecting to the same towers that your stock gateway is. But I've seen those drastically improve my performance there. And these things have like a fan in them to help with cooling, to keep everything functional. And you might have more success if you're putting like that in a attic or something. It won't overheat like one of these stock gateways will. So that can also be combined with an antenna. So the top tier one is getting a third-party gateway and then adding a waveform antenna to it. That's going to really bring your performance up quite a lot. There are some other units, like I have some outdoor units. Elsys Amplimax is one of the ones I've used, and that one is basically a third-party gateway and antenna all set up together in a single box, and that can be mounted outside directly, and then an Ethernet cable gets routed back inside your house. So those are the tried and true ways to really make a big improvement. But each of those I talked about go from free to several $100 to actually get that set up. All right, so all that said, I don't get the best signal if I have my gateway down on the first floor. But after years of testing, I mean, I found it out after a couple of weeks of testing, but now 5 years later, I have my setup very rock solid, and I have been super impressed with my connection. So I actually have all three of them, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, all hooked up to my main home internet router that then does load balancing amongst them. So I'm actually using all of them simultaneously when I connect to the internet, and I very rarely get any of them to drop out or act up for me on bad weather or whatnot. So I've been very happy with the consistency of the performance. But I did do things like add antennas and get stuff set up. I have 5G SA. 5G SA is a real game changer for me because it drastically drops down my latency to, like, I get about 10-15 milliseconds of ping with my setup that's outdoors. And then it also drastically helped my upload speed. So my upload speeds regularly are 80 megabits per second. I've seen definitely over 100 several times. So that really helps me as a YouTuber, because I upload a lot of these YouTube videos and they're large files. So I really enjoyed it. It can work out, but I have heard lots of people that say, hey, this internet stinks. It's no good. It doesn't work like they said to. I don't know if they just have bad signal there, or they didn't try and do some of the tricks of putting this in different locations, or what. But it does show promise for some people. And not only is it a good service, they do have it set up where you can buy a backup service for it, but I use this as my main setup, and I am a very tech-savvy person. I have a smart home. I have hundreds of smart devices. I have, I think, like 80 devices, give or take, on the Wi-Fi network. I do have a separate Wi-Fi network that I'm using. It's a TP-Link Amada mesh network that covers actually several acres across like 5 buildings. But that all gets tied back eventually to these gateways, and then that they're able to support that many devices without a problem. So don't be worried. I think sometimes they'll might advertise that, hey, it's good enough for 12 devices or something. That's not the case. These can definitely handle a lot more devices, especially if you add your own Wi-Fi mesh system or something to help spread that signal out to other parts of your house. Okay, so in summary, I think 5G home internet is fantastic. I am super glad that not only did they come out with it, but we have several competing options here that they're going to help improve themselves, keep the price down, and go against cable, fiber, Starlink, and those other options out there. So I'm very happy about it. For me personally, I don't have another option like cable or fiber at my house. I could get Starlink, I could get DSL, and I could get satellite. And to me, by far, the 5G was the way to go, and I have not regretted that. And I'm very excited for the future as it improves. But that said, there are some major drawbacks to it. And what I typically tell people is that if you have fiber available or cable available, I personally would opt for those still today, unless you have just fantastic speed. And I would say, I guess now I have found a way how I get that fantastic speed here in my house. But if I was getting worse performance, there are drawbacks, and I would tell people to stick with their hardwired connection, instead fight those ISPs to get more price competitive with the 5G offerings that are out there for you. So that's my advice to people. But as always, and as I've seen myself in the past several years, is that these technologies have drastically improved year over year. So I know it's going to get better, and I would not be surprised to see cellular-based home internet be one of the most popular ways that people get internet in the future. So I look forward to it. If you want to see links to specific videos, or for AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile separately, I have playlists for each of those. I have playlists for the antennas. I have playlists for third-party gateways. So check those out in the video description below. I'll also put them in the first comment. And then if you have a comment or question, do put it in the comments down below. Those are something that I do read, and I try to answer or get back to folks when they do write those. So I appreciate you guys doing that. And then, of course, I highly appreciate if you hit that like button on the video, which is right down here below the video. That helps YouTube know that this is a great video and that you enjoyed watching it. And then, of course, if you're dedicated, you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos like this one. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. Do ask your questions. I'd like to hear from all my fans. And then stay tuned, because more videos are coming out.